Hello everyone, today we'll see the data load in TRCS, the various import and export methods. So let's get started. Okay, so to prepare the TRCS application, we load the following types of data. Firstly, the book data, which includes the trial balance and the tax return data. Secondly, we load the tax account data, which includes the permanent and temporary adjustments, tax losses, and the credit adjustments. The payments and refunds for the tax roll forward to create the correct provision under the TRCS application. Fourth, the average number of employees data for the country by country reporting purpose for certain entities who requires this type of reporting. So we have to load the data only to the base members, and we have to ensure that the data contain valid target amounts and approval units to which you are loading the data are not already logged, because in case they are logged, we will not be able to input any sort of data. And it should be noted that the trial balance data should be loaded only to the TRCS trial balance closing movement and other book data. For example, the fixed asset tax depreciation, it can be loaded to TRCS book closing movement. Also, to import the data, you must be service administrator or the power user. Now there are certain steps how you can export the data. Like on the home page, you need to click the application, and then under that you need to click the overview. Under the overview tab, from the actions, you can select the export data. On the export data page, you have to click create. Then a second export data screen will be displayed. For the cube, you can either select console cube or the rate cube or the CPCR cube. And the file format, it should be the .csv, that is comma delimited, or the txt, that is tab delimited or other delimiter characters. Under slice definition, you need to select the row, column, point of view for the slice of data to be exported. Now we'll see how to export the data. Application, overview. Now you need to give the location where do you want to export our data file. So we can select the local system or the inbox outbox explorer, that is the server. Then cube, we have 4 cubes, that is console, rates, CPCR or configuration. I am right now selecting the console cube. File type, here we need to select the comma delimited. Smart list, export labels. Then dynamic members, I am excluding it. Decimal as none. And then you have to give the slice definition, that is and this is the most important feature or the option from which we have to select rows, column, or the POV for a particular data that we want to export. Like in row, you need to give the entity, and the column, I'm selecting the account, and here I'll be defining all those dimensions. Like I'm selecting period as this, year as FY15, scenario as actual, view as periodic, currency as entity currency, consolidation as entity input, data source as data input, movement as trial balance close, jurisdiction as United States. I'm selecting United States domicile, my jurisdiction. Intercompany as no intercompany. Entity I'll select. I'll select the account. I'll select from the income statement, net income, under net income after tax, profit before tax, under gross margin. Again select revenue domestic. Then under material and goods, okay, I'll select project labor cost. So these all I want to export. The density for the driver dimensions for a specified cube must be dense. The driver dimension account for the specified cube is sparse. I'm defining the dimensions again. The intercompany as no intercompany. The multi-gap, I'll define it as local gap. I think defined all the dimensions. Okay. Entity, I'll select from the total geography under North America. I'll maybe select the whole income statement right now. So my period and movement are my dense dimension. we keep account here, and period. So maybe I'm changing the driver dimension and try with that, because the density for the entity defined in the application is sparse, not the dense. Okay, so now it is exported. We'll open this file. Okay, so this is the data which I got in this particular format. See, accounts. So these are all my accounts. In under P6 period, these are all my amounts and the point of view. If you see the intersection, the data input actual year is FI15, multi-gap is local gap, intercompany is no intercompany, consolidation as entity input, this is jurisdiction, and currency as entity currency, periodic, and this is my entity, and this is my movement, TRCS TB closing, and this is my cube, data load cube name. So this is the file format, how it is getting exported. So in this way you can export the data. Yeah, and the error which you were getting earlier was I was keeping the entity in my driver dimensions, and I moved it to my another dimensions, like from column I moved it to my point of view, so it worked. Now we'll move to importing data. Okay, so to import the data you need to create an import file first for each artifact that you want to import. Then you load the import file or the files. Before you begin loading, you must create an import file for each artifact that you want to import, and it must contain basically a header record, and then below that a list of data records that you want to import or update, and the file format should be .csv or .txt. Now these are some of the load methods. like these are the options which are available for loading a data file into an application. The first one is the merge. Okay, so it is used to override the data which is present in the application. So it is saying that using this option to override the data in the application with the data in the load file. Each record in the data load file is imported into the cell, and you need to replacing the old value if any. The second option available is replace. Here this means if you use this option to replace the data in the application in the replace mode before the first record for the specific scenario, year, period, entity, and the map data source is encountered, the entire combination of the data for that particular period, year, scenario, entity is cleared, whether manually entered or previously loaded. So the rest means it is used to basically, a merge is used to override the data which is present in the application. The rest of the data which is there will get eliminated and the new data will be replaced. And the replace we load in particular year, scenario, entity combination. The data in some other account will remain intact, which we are not loading through our data file. And then you have the accumulation type. You need to select one of these options to accumulate the data in the application with the data in the load file, the like none. In case we select merge with a none or replace with none, the data which we are importing will replace the existing values in the database. If the accumulation type you are choosing is with database, so in case we are selecting merge or replace, the data will be added to the existing value of the cell. The accumulation type will not override the merge or the replace function. And if you are using within file, so this will accumulate this the cell value that are there within the file. So the last data that was present in the domestic, like I'll show you the data which was present in my file, and then we can take one example and then move with the practical case. So we'll start importing the file. So this is my file, like this is my entity LE101. This is my one account, this is my second account, this is my revenue account, this is my cost account, expense account, and this is my whole point of view. For the moment I have taken TRCS TB closing. For consolidation I have taken entity input, data source, data input, entity currency, intercompany as no intercompany, multi-gap as local gap, scenario as actual, year as FY20. This is periodic, the period as P12, and this is jurisdiction as US, and data load cube name is console. So this we load in our application, import data, create, validate it, and then import. We'll check in the jobs, import data is processing. Okay, so import data is completed. Now we'll see the data in our form. Okay, so this is my data, that is revenue international is 25,000, and the cost of goods sold which I have loaded is 10,000, and the 5,000 is my project labor cost. 25,000, 10,000 and 5,000. Okay, so these remaining are the data which is being loaded earlier only, that is 94,000 is loaded in the revenue domestic. Okay, now we'll use this combination as merge none. It says since accumulation is set to none, the last record in the data load file will be loaded and the data is not accumulated. Remaining all the data in the database for the SYP combination will remain same. We'll see how this works. This is my new file which I have created. Now that was the original suppose data which I have loaded. Now I want the same entity. I have created two records. This is my one account, revenue account. It has so this is my one account. It has 24,000 and 45,000. Similarly, this is another account. It has 5,500 and 11,000, and the same point of view which I have defined in the earlier file and this. So I've just changed the amount and I'm trying to load it. So when we'll import the data, we'll use the import mode as merge and the accumulation type as none. And then we'll choose the file which we want to import it. So now in the system, we have 25,000, 10,000 and 5,000 under the respective accounts. And now we are trying to load a different file and want to see if we use the merge with the accumulation type none, what will be the result. Okay, it is completed now. Import data. We'll check in the form. Okay, so what has happened is when you use the merge option with the none, it's just showing us 45,000. See, the 45,000 is revenue, 11,000 is our cost of goods sold. Here it is also showing us the 5,000 which was earlier, which was there in the system. So when you use the merge with none accumulation type, so basically we load in particular year scenario entity and it the combination of that data particularly, and then the data which was there in some other account, it remains intact, means it will not the data will it will remain the same even if we are not loading the data. So basically the data which is there in the file, that data plus the data which was there earlier in your the database, that will also be coming over here. See, 5,000 which we haven't loaded in our file. See here it was showing just two accounts. Before this we have taken the three accounts and the 5,000 was this, so the system is already capturing 5,000. So when we use the merge with none option, it picked the last the latest data, that is the last line, so 45,000 and 11,000 and the 5,000 which was already feed into the system. So here it says when you use the data, when you load the data through merge with none options, since the accumulation is set to none, the last record in the load file will be loaded and the data is not accumulated. Remaining all data in the database for the scenario, year, period, entity combination will remain the same. Okay, so the last record will appear and the other data will not accumulate it. Only the remaining all the data which is there in the database for the same this particular combination, that will remain the same. That was the 5000. So this was the first case. Now we'll see with replace with none. Now we again load that original file and see. After that we'll import the new file with the replace with none and we'll see the result. So I am loading again this file which was my original file, 25,000, 10,000 and 5,000. Import is complete. Now we'll check in the form. We'll keep open the form in our duplicate tab. Okay, so again the data is now 25,000, 10,000 and the 5,000 in project labor cost. Now we'll load the new file with replace and accumulation type as none. Import mode as replace and accumulation type as none, and we'll load that file. So basically merge option, in case we select the merge option, it is used to override the data which is present in the application with the data which we'll be loading through the data file. So each record in the data load file is basically imported into the application and then it will get it will replace the old value in case there is any. And in case of replace option, it is used to replace the data in the application, the entire data for a particular scenario, year, period and entity dimension in case we are loading. So rest of the data which was already there in that particular SYPE dimension or combination will get eliminated and the new data will get loaded. Now we'll check in the form. So now if you see, it is just picking up the 45,000 and the 11,000, and the 5,000 which was already there in the database, it is eliminated, so that is replaced. We are just seeing the 45,000 and 11,000, these two accounts. So the remaining whatever dimension the data which is there for this particular combination, it will get eliminated and the new data will get loaded. So this is the difference between the merge with none option and the replace with none option. Here it says, since the accumulation is set to none, the last record in the data load file will be loaded, and the data is not accumulated but the expenses amount is now eliminated, as replace option deletes all the data present in the database with a particular SYPE combination. So it removed or it eliminated the 5,000 amount. Now we'll choose the merge with database option. So before that, we'll again load our original file, that is 25,000, 10 and 5,000, so that we can see the changes. Okay, so now you can see 25, 10 and 5,000 is there. Again, now we load our new file under overview, import data. Now the import mode is merge and the accumulation type will be with database. So the new file, which means my old file was this, the one account, and the 25,000, 10,000 and 5,000 is there, and the new is like we have two different line of item for the particular account, and the 5,000 we remove, that is the third account, we are not loading it. So the file is constantly the same from the first case itself. So now I've uploaded and import. So import data is processing. Let's wait for it to complete. So basically, in case we select this option with merge or replace, the data will be added to the existing value of the cell, and this accumulation type will not override the merge and the replace function, and accumulation type that will be an additional to the merge and replace function. So what here it is showing in merge, the 94,000, the 26,500 and the 5,000. That means the data which is there in this file, if you see the data which is there, it is 24,000 in this file plus 45,000 plus 25,000 in original file, that is 94,000. Here it adds 5,500 plus 11,000 plus 10,000 which was there in original file, means the data which is loaded in the database. So 94, 26,500 and the 5,000 which was already been there. So the 94, 26,500, 5,000. So when you choose the merge with within database, so the file the data which is there in your file, that data plus the data which is already there in your database all gets add up, and that will reflect as your result. So here it says the data will be added to the data already in the database, as accumulation type is selected as with database, and the rest of the data will remain unchanged as the merge is selected. Now we'll select merge within file. I'll quickly upload the old one. Okay, we'll open up the form quickly. Okay, so 25, 10 and 5, the original data it has been loaded. Now we'll again load the new file with merge and within file import. Import data is still processing. Okay, we'll refresh this form. Now it says 69,000, 16,500 and 5,000, which means here it says 24,000 plus 45,000 is 69,000 and 5,500 plus 11,000 is 16,500, and the 5,000 which was already there because you are using the merge option. So when we use the accumulation type as within file, so whatever there is in this particular file, it will add up these whole line items. So it was saying this option will accumulate the data which is present in the load file. Remaining all data in the database for the SYPE combination will remain the same, that is the 5,000 which we saw. The 5,000 we haven't loaded from the file, but it will remain intact. Now we'll use the last option, that is the replace option within the file. Now I'll load again the old file and will import data. So the import data is completed. So again you will see the old amount 25, 10 and 5. Now we'll upload the new file using the replace and using the replace import mode and accumulation type as within file. Here we choose the replace, accumulation type as the last one, that is within file. Once this data load is complete, import data is complete, we'll check in the form what is the result when you use this replace with within file accumulation type. Okay, this is completed. So basically Here it is saying revenue international is 69,000 and 16,500. So it is also adding up these two, that is 24 plus 45 is 69 and 5,500 plus 11,000 16,500, and it is not it is eliminating the 5,000 which was there in our third account, which is not there in this file. So this is the difference between the merge within file and the replace within file. Merge within file is showing these two also plus the 5,000 which was there in the database, but replace, eliminate, it shows these two amounts and it eliminates the data which is there in the file. So here it says this option will accumulate the data which is present in the load file. Remaining all the data in the database for SYP combination will be deleted as replace is selected. So these are the various load method example how you can load using the merge none, replace none, merge with database, replace with database, merge with file, and replace with file. Now next is you can load the data through DM, how you can import the data or load the data through DM, that we'll cover in our next session. Thank you for your time. If you have any queries, please contact BISP. Thank you.